Hello everybody and welcome back to another one of those videos where I talk about updates on Dwarf Fortress coming from Toady1 and KitFox. We've got two beta branch updates to cover here, Beta 23 as well as Beta 24. Beta 23 was from the very end of September, and Beta 24 released on the 23rd of October. I'm bunching these two together because 23rd on its own was rather small, and it just kind of made sense to do it as a twofer. So let's dive in. Beta 23 included some audio crash fixes, as well as various other Linux-related fixes, and added classic glyphs. Even though the layout isn't complete, the general look of the UI for ASCII now looks accurate. While they still need to center the actual symbols in the center of the screen instead of up in the top left there, I honestly think that this layout looks pretty nifty and rolls together quite nicely, especially with the new tutorials, which I'll cover in a second. Populations are now better respected for location generation that you may visit, and there's more information in the crash logs, which is helpful for everybody, as well as they worked on command line world generation for those of you crazies out there. Jumping up to the more recent update for Beta 24, there is now a tutorial in Adventure Mode. This is probably the thing that has me the most excited. It's very similar to the tutorial in Fortress Mode in its layouts. Now, this tutorial has something that I think is really cool, but it also does something that I think is a bit of wasted potential. The first thing that it doesn't do is it doesn't actually make you open up any of the tool menus. So it'll tell you where they all are in the tutorial and what they do, and it'll highlight the buttons. That looks really nice. If I recall correctly, that is a new feature as well. However, you can't click on these buttons while it's in the tutorial, and you cannot open up the menus while the tutorial menu is still open. I think it would be really cool if I could open up those menus and immediately get the context menu for them, because they do have additional tutorial menus once the menus are opened. It's also kind of cool that there's this little help screen here, and it's got these yes, you've seen this screen, no, you haven't seen this screen kind of thing, so it'll give you an idea of what you still need to look at to progress through and finish the tutorial. Now, this isn't the early chosen stuff where you'll actually be able to talk to your god. This is strictly just a controls and UX tutorial. And honestly, I think it is sufficient for what it's trying to do. I just wish it was a little bit more guided. It doesn't give you any character creation tutorials, at least at this time, and it doesn't really tell you what's a good place to start as a new player. But I'm sure stuff like that will come with time. I do like the toggleable on-off option at the beginning of character creation to enable or disable the tutorial. You can also now click on your own portrait icon for your status instead of having to hit the Z key or click on the little button next to it. Just more convenient and very, very straightforward. Thankfully, hives no longer look like socks, which was a funny bug for a minute there. And they made string display more compatible with fan translations, essentially allowing the game's text to display other languages easier. Multi-threading is more stable, meaning there will be less crashes, and they fixed a modding crash involving creature variations. No idea what that was, but it's fixed now. The last thing I want to really note here is the menu sounds during character creation and the adventure log. When you are doing character creation and playing around in adventure mode, buttons make clicky sounds now. Is this something that you like? Would you like to see this in other menus in Dwarf Fortress? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to know. I think the immediate tactile feel of having clickable buttons that make a little clicky sound is a nice addition. Here, I'll shut up for a second and let you listen. There's a few other housekeeping things I'd like to mention, and that is there is some new merch now from Fangamer. They are making a Dwarf Fortress guidebook. It is described as a book filled with tips on how to progress through Dwarf Fortress, which I think is kind of neat. Honestly, I don't know how much I would actually journal in a book like this, but this is something I wouldn't mind having on my shelf. It just looks nice. So while I would skip the Expedition Leader's journal, that actual guidebook, kind of dope. I'm a fan. Also, we have to say shout outs and congratulations to Tarn for now getting married. Life has definitely been progressing forward for Tarn at a steady clip, and I just would like to wish him a congratulations. One of the last things mentioned here is we are getting our early previews for what the facial sprites for children are going to look like. I think they look adorable. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. The final thing is, if you have problems with Dwarf Fortress just straight up not working, I will just plop this screenshot here on screen, and you can see KitFox's description of what's going on with that. I will say that if you are having issues with crashing, go to the KitFox Discord and talk to them, because if the game is just like crashing to desktop on startup, there's something weird going on. But all in all, that's the Dwarf Fortress news. It's been kind of slow going with Tarn getting married and all, but honestly, I think that that's perfectly acceptable. A patch a month is still honestly the fastest Dwarf Fortress development has had, at least definitely since Fortress Mode and Adventure Mode were announced to be coming to Steam. That was when things were like, well, it's gonna be years before we get a patch, and we didn't get a patch for 2 years. So it's nice that we're getting these monthly updates, even though they're just on the beta branch and a lot of people aren't seeing them. It's cool to see stuff drip feeding in. And I have a feeling that once things settle down with Adventure Mode and we get to begin seeing actual new development again, people will be much more appreciative of this kind of pacing. Even if stuff is small, it does add up and means a lot in the long run. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you haven't yet, check out this little video I made about a little dwarf named Cog. He's pretty cool, I hear. And also, I'm technically on vacation right now, so if streams have disappeared and you're like, where's Blind Streams at? Well, I'll be back on the 29th, so don't worry too much about that. I hear Caves of Cut is hitting 1.0 soonish, so maybe we should look at that as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.